In a world with ever-changing algorithms, the potential to go viral, and free marketing on social media, there's always the question of how often should you post per platform to make sure that you are leveraging these very powerful tools for your business and to make sure that you're doing everything you can to get the most out of your content. We are getting into how often you should post on social media for your business page. Hi, I'm Ariana. I'm a social media manager. On this channel, we talk about socials for business, content creation and content marketing, and work-life balance. If that sounds like something you're interested in, I highly suggest subscribing. I hear this question a lot. To give you a really quick answer, it depends. And before we get into hard numbers, there are a couple things that you should keep in mind. I always tell my community, my followers, and people who consume my content, consistency is not the same as frequency. This basically means that you do not have to post every single day on Instagram, on your social media, to stay or consider yourself consistent. Good posting schedule for you is one that works with your schedule. This is something to keep in mind when you are kind of figuring out how often you can post as opposed to how often you should post. For example, if you want to post pretty often per week, think about what your schedule looks like. Think about how many posts you can realistically put out every single week, how much content you can create every single week to be posting fresh new content, as well as what you can recycle from the past, and figure out how often you can actually post every single week. So if you are more on the busier side, if you do have a 9-to-5 job and your business is kind of your side hustle, you only work on when you have time, you might not be able to post as much as someone who works on their business 24/7 or someone who has way more time than you. So another tip that I have is to stop comparing yourself to other people on social media. And I'm sure you already knew that, but that was just a little reminder. The reminder that if you can only realistically post 3 times a week, that's totally fine. And posting 3 times a week consistently for about 6 months is so much better than posting 5 times a week, every other week, every other month. We've gotten that out of the way. How often should you really post on social media? So there's one thing that I also always say. Posting more often will definitely increase your chances of going viral, of having your content perform really well, and for having more people see your content and getting more reach and engagement. Think about someone who posts 7 times a week. They probably have more insight into what their audience likes to see from them. They have more analytics to look over, have a better idea of what content is working and what's not, other than if someone were to post 3 times a week, there isn't really that much to go off of. Posting more also gives the algorithm more of your content to push out to other people, basically to test it and see who likes what content is better than others, and it's just a faster way to figure out what content works for your page. I wouldn't necessarily say that posting more appeases to the algorithm and makes your content better or makes your content get more pushed out. It kind of just expedites the process into what good content from your page would be. Getting into the hard numbers on how often you should post on different platforms, we're going to talk about Instagram. For the goal of growing your account, getting more exposure, getting more engagement, I would definitely suggest to post at least 1 reel a day, if you can, of course. As I've said before, reels are getting pushed out by Instagram very much lately. And this is the hotspot on Instagram to get more engagement and more exposure. This is the place on Instagram where you can reach new people easily, the place where a lot of people are at right now because short form video is really blowing up. Moving on to feed posts, these are a little bit less important if your goal is to get your feed posts as your follower exclusive content. This is the content that your followers are definitely going to see most of the time. It can sometimes get you a lot of exposure if you do land on the explore page, but most of the time this is just content that the people who are following you will interact with and will like. Of course, they also see your reels, but this is just a different type of format of content that you can share with your audience. So how often should you post feed posts? Maybe every other day, because for the goal of having more exposure and getting more reach, reaching new people isn't really the top place to do that. So you don't have to put too much emphasis on it, but you should definitely still nurture the relationship that you have with the followers that you have already. So don't forget to post these, but you can post it a little bit less often than reels. Moving on to story posts, definitely a daily thing, just because this is a more casual place than creating a nice polished feed post or putting together a reel. You can post this throughout your day, and usually people say to post at least 10 stories per day. Even I struggle with keeping up with, But the more you post on stories, the more your story icon will be pushed to the front of the feed and more people will see it. So if you do post more often on stories, your content will definitely get seen by your followers and you'll get more engagement as well as more story views. So my tip for staying consistent and posting on stories, pick at least 1 to 2 days out of the week that you know you can post at least 10 story posts on. So it doesn't have to be every single day. If you have one day where you can actually dump on your stories, this will definitely be beneficial to you and your business. So make sure that these days include your offer, include clickable links, and make sure you make the most of these story days, as well as using interactive stickers to boost engagement. Moving on to TikTok. The best way to grow on TikTok is to post more often because you have more chances of going viral, more insight into the content that people like to see. Like the sweet spot for TikTok is definitely to try to post at least twice a day. This can seem a little bit daunting, a little bit overwhelming, but TikTok is also very casual. Do not have to be a whole entire production. But just keep in mind to make sure that your content is valuable, your audience is getting something out of that 10-second video that they're watching, and also just don't think too hard about it. So if you want to make the commitment to start posting consistently on TikTok, just keep this in mind. As always, you can definitely post as much as you realistically can create every week. And if you do have a YouTube channel, the same concept goes. If you post more, you will get more insight, you will understand what's doing better and what's not. But I have seen very successful YouTubers post once a week. Staying consistent is definitely key to growing your channel as well as nurturing the relationship with your audience. Lastly, we are talking about Pinterest. Pinterest is relatively easy to stay consistent on as long as you have the content for it. It's a platform where you can just schedule and forget about it. You do kind of have to interact with Pinterest, but that's a whole different topic. You can use Pinterest desktop to schedule your pins. I highly recommend just repurposing content that you have created already. You can definitely post your TikToks, your Instagram reels, your feed posts, and maybe the good story posts as well. Schedule them on Pinterest and use the app like a real person. The scheduling feature will make it easier to stay consistent, meaning that you should be creating fresh pins every single day. Once a day is fine, but don't forget to use the app. So hopefully now you have a better idea of how often you should post to reach your goals, whatever that may be on social media. If you got anything valuable from this video, I'd really appreciate if you leave a like down below. It really does help me out. If you'd like to see more content like this and more content from me, I highly suggest subscribing. If you have any more video suggestions you'd like to see from me, please let me know in the comment section. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!